Why is it that I'm throwing $200 at this debt, $500, and it's not going anywhere? Because when you do it randomly, no, it's not going to go anywhere. Hey girl, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Trinity. If you're new here, today I'm going to be sharing with you things that I'm currently doing and things that I will be doing in 2024 in order to have my financial glow up. If you're interested in going on this journey with me, just keep on watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into the video. So, backstory. Growing up, I was always really good with money. And I think that's because in my earlier childhood years, whenever someone would give me money, whether it was for my birthday, a random occasion, Christmas, whatever, I would always want to go shopping. I would always want to buy something, and my dad would always say, you don't know how to hold on to $1. Like, you don't have to spend it as soon as you get it. So as I got older, I wanted to make him proud, and I wanted to show him that I actually could save money. So I used to save way more than I spent. I just like to see the money pile up in my account. Like, that was just my thing. So if you're not new here, then you know that I am a lash tech and a makeup artist. So I am self-employed, and I have been for my whole adult life, basically. But after I had my son, things got a little rough for me. I had him during COVID, not really like the peak of COVID, but this was July of 2021. I came back to work September of 2021. And at that point, they had just cut off food stamps. They cut off unemployment. They cut off everything. So everybody was kind of like scrambling for money. So that was like a really bad time for me to come back to work. My clients probably cut in half. My financial responsibilities actually doubled. It was just a lot going on. I was expecting things to just fall in line right after I came back from maternity leave, not really thinking about the fact that so much was changing in the economy. And it was just a lot, y'all. So I basically spent a whole lot of time recovering after that, and it was not fun. And I've learned so much about finances ever since I was in that situation, because that was my first time really having to deal with that, like really having to make stuff shake with almost nothing. So as I've been rebuilding, like I said, I've been learning more and more stuff. And recently I've just been trying to really become more financially literate, because at first I was working and saving my money, not really spending way too much. Like, I was being responsible, but I wasn't doing much more than that. And I feel like it takes way more than that in order for you to actually have a financial glow up. Like, it's not just about working and then saving some of your money. So thankfully, my cousin, who I always talk about on my channel, her name is Taylor, she recently got licensed in finance, and she's pretty much been helping me, and I have just learned so much from her lately. I'm going to share with y'all some of the things that I've learned from her, and also some other people on social media. Everybody's information will be linked down below. So the first thing I learned from my cousin was about life insurance. I knew nothing about life insurance because it's just not something that people talk about for some strange reason. The only thing I knew about life insurance was that people be dying and they don't be having it, and then their family be having to come up with a whole bunch of money. That's all I ever knew. But I learned from her that there are a whole lot more benefits to life insurance than what I had already known. I'll share one of her TikToks so y'all can have a little bit more understanding about the benefits of life insurance.
If you have a child under 17, I recommend taking out a $50,000 life insurance policy. It'll most likely be less than $35 monthly. In 16 years, you will be able to buy their first car, down payment on their first home, or pay for the first year of an in-state college.
So yeah, I worked with her and set that up for me and my son. It was actually a very simple and easy process. I thought there was going to be way more to it, which is why like she kept posting about it on social media, and I just kept thinking about it but not reaching out to her. So let me just say, a lot of things concerning finances seem way more intimidating than they actually are. And this is one of those things. Like I said, hit her up, set up a consultation with her, and go from there. But yeah, once we finished with that, she texted me and she was like, you ready to do your spending plan? And I was like, oh girl, I don't know about all that, because you're definitely going to be fussing me out if you see the type of things that I spend my money on. And that was actually hard for me to admit, because like I told y'all, I was always really good with money, but for some reason, once I got out of that little situation that I was in, I guess because I had gone so long not being able to do certain things, I kind of started spazzing out. And it's not really nothing crazy. Like, if I told y'all the stuff that I was spending it on, you'd be like, girl. But I just wasn't being that conscious. So rewind. I always thought I was good with budgeting. But it wasn't until I did the spending plan with her that I realized my budgeting was terrible. Not terrible, but it definitely wasn't as helpful as I thought it was. But before we get into what I learned from her about the spending plan, let's talk about the difference between a spending plan and a budget. I'm gonna read this off my phone because I asked her to text it to me so that I wouldn't forget. She said, a spending plan allows you to spread out your money for things that you want and need and stop unnecessary spending so that you can have extra to get out of any debt. A budget just lets you know what you can afford. So the first thing I noticed about my budgeting was that I was only writing down my bills. I wasn't writing out like my monthly expenses. So just like the fixed things like rent, BGE, my car note, my phone bill, my suite rent, you know, stuff like that. Stuff that doesn't really change, like things that I really consider my bills. But when I did my spending plan with her, I realized that all of my monthly monthly expenses have to go into account. Otherwise, I'm gonna think I'm working with more money than I actually am. So I'm gonna read off some things that were considered expenses that I never really took into account when I was coming up with my budget. Groceries, gas, home items, my lash inventory, stuff that I'm guaranteed to spend money on every month that I just never wrote out. Now, the problem that comes in when you don't account for those things is that you're not designating a certain amount to spend on those things. I would just go to Target one week and be like, oh, I need paper towels, I need toilet paper, I need dish detergent, I need laundry detergent. And I would just kind of spend whatever because I didn't have a budget in mind for those things. And like I said, once we wrote out my bills and all of the rest of my monthly expenses, I realized I was working with a lot less than I thought I was. And once I actually saw it on paper, I was able to be like, okay, girl, you need a number in mind for some of these things so that you don't be out here going crazy. But then another issue came in when she was asking me about stuff like groceries. She was asking me how much I spent on groceries every month. I didn't have a solid answer. I kind of just guessed. Like, I gave her like a ballpark answer because, like I said, I had no plan for my groceries. I would just go in the store and be like, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And I would just spend it. I would get to the register and whatever they said the price was is what I paid. So really doing this spending plan with my cousin inspired me to become more controlled when it came to my spending. Because I thought I was doing a good job, but clearly I wasn't. So then I went through my accounts and I tracked my expenses as best as I could to really try to get a solid idea of how much I was spending in all these different categories. Like, I figured out how much I was spending on groceries. I figured out how much I was spending on gas, how much I was spending on these Target trips that I was going on multiple times a week because, hello, it's Target. And the crazy thing about it is when she looked through my expenses, she was like, there's honestly nothing that you can cut. Like, the only thing that I could have possibly cut was my nails because everything else is a necessity. So yeah, once I became more aware of what I was spending in all these categories, I decided to really sit down and try my best to come up with numbers that would be more beneficial for me in order for me to reach certain financial goals that I have for myself for 2024. Because I honestly feel like for the last few years, I've had goals for how much I wanted to make, but all of the other financial goals that I probably should have had, I didn't have. Like, girl, how you gonna pay this debt? When are you gonna have it paid off by? Important stuff like that. So once I did all that, I went on TikTok one night and I kind of went down a rabbit hole. Like, I was on TikTok till like 2 o'clock in the morning, looking at videos of people talking about how they live off of a certain budget, how they control their spending, how they pay off their debt. We're gonna talk about the debt part in a second. But yeah, I found a few people on TikTok who had a lot of good information, a lot of good tips. So I'm gonna share those tips with y'all because I made notes on my phone as I was going through. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna share this with my girls because my girls might need it. I found this girl, her TikTok is Financially Brave, and her content is basically centered around the fact that she made a decision to live off of $50 a month as far as like non-essential items. So she basically takes us on a journey with her, just showing and telling us a bunch of different things that help her along her journey. One of the most important things I learned from her was the fact that you have to know yourself and you have to know your triggers when it comes to spending. One thing I've been struggling with lately, and I shared this on my channel recently, is eating out. And she has a video specifically about the triggers that make her eat out. She gave different trigger examples such as stress, convenience, family and friends, and what she calls the domino effect. And these don't only apply to eating out, like this could be just your spending triggers, period. When she was explaining why stress is a trigger, she was saying that when you're stressed or agitated or annoyed or just upset, not really in a good headspace, not really in a good mood, you're more likely to comfort spend. And I was like, what? Like, that really is a thing, because I noticed that when I'm having a bad day, I'm more likely to go online, see something and buy it right away, as opposed to letting it sit in my cart for a little bit or just like putting it on a wish list and then coming back to it later to see if I really want it. When I'm in a really good headspace and I'm not stressed out or agitated, I don't impulse buy as much as I do when I'm stressed. Then we have convenience. So let's talk about eating out. Sometimes you don't want to be in the kitchen for hours cooking. You don't feel like washing the dishes. You don't feel like prepping the food. You don't feel like waiting for the food to cook. You don't feel like doing none of that. So to solve that issue, you order takeout or you go out to eat just because it's more convenient. That's the big one for me when it comes to eating out. I feel like that's probably my number one thing. I just don't be feeling like it, especially if I had a really long day at work. I'm not trying to come home and be spending an hour or two in the kitchen. I'm really not. Then we have family and friends. Y'all know when you get around your family and your friends, you're more likely to just go with the flow and do whatever they're trying to do. If they're trying to go out to eat, they trying to go out for drinks, and you don't have clear, solid boundaries, you gonna go right along with them. And then we have what she calls the domino effect. So the domino effect is basically when you tell yourself, okay, I'm just gonna allow myself to go out this one time. You might be treating yourself because of something that you accomplished, but then what happens is once you do it that one time, you just keep on doing this. Like, you don't stop because you tell yourself, well, I mean, I already ate out earlier today. I already kind of messed it up, so let me just do it again. And I fall victim to that a lot. Like, if I start the day off going out to eat, like if I go grab breakfast breakfast from somewhere, if I go grab me some Chick-fil-A breakfast on the way to work, 9 times out of 10, if I ain't packed no lunch, I'm going out for lunch, and then I'm probably going to go out for dinner too. So you have to know your triggers, but then you also have to come up with solutions for those problems. So one example she gave was with the convenience thing, like the fact that takeout was more convenient for her when she didn't feel like spending an hour cooking or spending 2 hours cooking, waiting for food or whatever. She started buying more snacks and more frozen foods, things that she could just kind of grab and eat really fast. I remember when I first had my son, I was struggling with getting 3 meals in a day. And my friend told me, like, girl, you need to go to Trader Joe's. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is already prepped and it doesn't take long in the oven, or you can just throw it in the air fryer, like just nice, quick, easy meals. So for a while, when my son was like a newborn, I was living off of Trader Joe's meals. So I've been trying to buy more snacks, like stuff that I can just eat in between meals so that I wouldn't just run a Chick-fil-A real quick. And I've also been buying more frozen foods, whether it's from Trader Joe's or just from the regular market. Stuff that I can make when I didn't feel like making a real full-blown meal. So now I'm gonna share with y'all some things that I'm actively doing in order to make sure I actually have my financial glow up in 2024. I got some goals I'm trying to meet, and we working, okay? We working over here. Number one, I was instructed by my cousin to have multiple accounts, because one of the reasons why I didn't really have a concrete answer when she was asking me how much I spent on certain things is that everything was coming out of one account. I literally had no idea where my money was going. It was just coming in, going out, coming in, going out, coming in, going out. It's so much easier to see and keep track of your money when you have it in different places. Number two, I was doing this before, but I wasn't doing it as often. Everything that I want is written on a wish list, and I do not buy anything that is not on that list. So of course, as new things pop up, I'll just add them to the list. But if it just pops into my mind, I'm not going to just go online and order it, because I haven't even sat on it for a little bit. And at this point, I'm not buying anything on that list, so it really doesn't matter. But at least I know once I get to the point where I'm willing to spend again, I'll be buying from a list of things that I have been sitting on for a while. Number three, no more Zip, no more Afterpay, none of that. I fell into the trap, y'all. I fell into the trap so deep, like deep to the point where I could not see the light at all. Now, I fell into the Zip trap because you can use Zip anywhere. For those of y'all who don't know, if you know what QuadPay is, Zip is the new QuadPay. Like, they just changed the name. But it's basically like another Afterpay pretty much. Y'all know it's a whole bunch of different companies that do the same thing. You can use it online, you can use it in store, as long as wherever you are accepts cards, not even just Apple Pay, but as long as they accept cards, you can use it. Probably shouldn't be telling y'all that. Don't fall into the trap like I did, please. But yeah, I started using it because I felt like, okay, I mean, the money is coming out of my account every 2 weeks, so it's not like I can avoid paying it. It's going to get paid. And I thought because I was only using it when I really had the money in my account and I just didn't want to use the money in my account, I thought that that was fine. But no, it's not. Like, if you want to use it in moderation, okay, but just don't take it real far like I did. Because I was telling myself, for example, if I saw something that was $100, I would have the $100 in my account, but I would still use Zip, because why would I spend $100 right now when I can pay 25 now, 25 2 weeks from now, 25 more 2 weeks from then? Like, y'all get what I'm saying? But the problem with that is when you keep doing that and keep doing that, that stuff adds up. Like, there was a point where I was having $200 worth of Zip payments coming out of my account every week. Like, even when I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna use it no more, I felt like it was smarter to use it because I already had so many payments coming out from that app. That was a big reason why I was impulse spending, because I knew I didn't have to spend all of my money. Although I had the money, I didn't have to spend it all. So now that I stopped using it, I'm way more conscious of what I'm buying. I'm also way more hesitant to buy stuff because I'm not even using that as an option. 4, I stopped consuming so much buy this content. I know some of y'all can relate. It's real easy to fall into the trap of buying stuff just because you see a whole bunch of reviews about it on social media. I used to literally look up stuff to buy. Like, I would go on TikTok and look up car finds, Amazon car finds. Like, girl, you don't need that stuff. As much as you think you probably do, you don't need it. You can live without it. Like, I would just look up random content that was designed for me to go online and buy something. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that content, because it's fine, especially for people who are actually looking for that stuff. But you really got to be careful how much of that type of content you're consuming. If I ever link anything in my description box for something that y'all might see in the video, I'm not going to shove it down y'all throat. I'm going to tell you the link is in the description. You buy it if you want to. If you don't, then you don't. I just know that there are certain things that people see in my videos and they might be interested on where I got it from, how much it was, whatever. But if you're in a season of your life where you're trying to spend less, make sure you're being conscious of how much of that buy this content you're consuming. Number 5, my spending plan actually helped me with this, but I came up with a plan for how I'm going to pay off all of my debt. People always talk about cutting things out whenever they're trying to reach a certain financial goal or whatever, like cutting out nails, cutting out lashes, cutting out hair or whatever. But let's keep in mind, cutting stuff out is only helpful when you're consciously putting that money elsewhere, like somewhere where it's gonna actually help you. That's cool, but what are you gonna do with that extra money that you had? Do you have a plan for it? What you do with your extra money makes such a big difference. So I have decided that any extra money that I have is gonna go toward my debt. Now, this is why it's important for you to have a plan when it comes to paying off your debt. I have this one credit card, and over the past, I'm gonna say 2 years, I've like randomly thrown money at it, but I didn't have a plan at all. The problem with that is when you don't have a plan, you don't consistently throw money at that debt. You just kind of do it here and there. But when you're just doing it here and there and it's not on a schedule, not on a consistent basis, you're still accumulating interest. It's gonna seem like that debt is not going anywhere, and that's exactly how I felt. Why is it that I'm throwing $200 at this debt, $500, and it's not going anywhere? Because when you do it randomly, no, it's not gonna go anywhere. There's fees, interest, all types of stuff piling up on top of your balance. So I had to come up with a plan. My cousin kind of quickly explained the snowball method to me, but then I went on TikTok and I found some videos that further explained it. Sorry y'all, my camera died. If the angle is different, then it's not. The snowball effect is basically where you write out all of your debts, then you list them in order from lowest amount to highest amount. So 1 is the lowest, and then let's say you have 4. 4 would be the most expensive debt that you have. Essentially, you'll be paying the minimum payment for each debt, but any extra money you have, you're throwing it at the first one, the one with the lowest number. So let's say for your first debt, the minimum payment is $20. You'll be paying the minimum payment for all of your debts, but if you have $20 extra that you want to throw at your debt, you'll throw it at that first one. So now you're paying $40 instead of $20. You're going to keep doing that while only paying the minimum for the other ones. And once that first one is paid off, whatever you were paying for that first one, you're going to add that to the second one. So let's say the second one is $40. You were paying $40 for the first one. So now that that first one is paid off, you're going to take that $40 that you were throwing at the first one and you're going to add it to the $40 minimum payment of the second one. So now you're paying $80 for the second one, so on and so forth. You're going to do the same thing until all of the debts are paid. But yeah, like I said, a plan is very important when it comes to paying off your debt, because I have wasted so much money just randomly throwing money at my debt. I probably would have been better off just not paying anything, honestly, because I didn't have a real plan. And this is why your spending plan is so important. Like I said, the budget shows you what you can afford, but when you have a spending plan, you're allocating your money to different things and you're telling yourself, okay, this is how much I make, this is how much my bills and my expenses are, this is how much I have left over. What am I going to do with what's left over? I'm gonna throw it at my debt. This is how I'm going to do it. Get what I'm saying? The cost of living is so high, y'all, so learning how to really manage your money well is so important. And contrary to popular belief, making more money will not solve all of your problems. Yes, it may solve some of them, but if you don't know how to manage your money, making more money will not change anything. So I hope this video helps someone, and if y'all are going to go on this financial glow up journey with me, let me know down below in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you contact my cousin Taylor if you want some extra help with your finances, and also make sure you check out the other ladies that I mentioned in this video. Everybody's information will be down below, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.